InvestKL was set up with the intention of attracting global MNCs to Malaysia to invest in her shores. But how successful has it been? As the country enters a new decade, we talk to acting CEO Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli about the highlights, the lowlights, and what lies ahead. 2020 is going to be a big milestone for the country, and I think it would be good to take stock of what InvestKL has actually done, thus far. So give us a snapshot of your biggest milestones, the highlights, the lowlights, could have been. What, when you look back at the history, sticks out to you?
We started our journey in 2011 with a very focused task of attracting Fortune Forbes type of companies and unicorns to use KL, Greater Kuala Lumpur, as a regional hub for business, innovation and talent. We ended 2018 with 78 companies, bringing in a total investment of 13 billion US dollars in investments, as well as creating 12,000 high-value jobs.
Right.
The 2019 looks very optimistic. We are confident of exceeding our stretch KPI, and we are looking at ending 2019 with about 91 companies, accumulated total since 2011. Clearly, 2020 will be very important for us as we continue to attract investments, but most importantly, retaining these 91 companies. And that's a key area.
It's going to be about 2 years, of the new government in 2020. How have strategies kind of changed? If I were to give you a blank slate for the year, what are the pins you would put in? What is in store?
Looking ahead, we are not just looking at 2020. Yes, 2020 would be our first milestone in terms of attracting 100 multinationals. But we are looking beyond that, simply because over the years we have built a very robust model, a robust business model of attracting multinationals. And we are confident that this can be replicated, the model can be replicated to attract more multinationals, or even the unicorns that's really being active in this world today. So looking at that particular area, this is where, with the change of the government, we have also taken a more proactive role in a sense that to update, to also share these activities with the main stakeholders. It's about bringing them into the story. It's also about bringing them into the methodology of how we want to attract the investments and how we want to retain the investments. They have been very supportive. They see the impact to the economy, the impact to the ground, the type of jobs that we have created, and this is where they have been supportive wherever required. This may be a change in certain rules and regulations.
Right.
This may be a need to facilitate certain green lane activities. So as InvestKL, from day one, we have stayed apolitical, meaning we will work with the government of the day. And we must say that the government of the day are pro-business, previous as well as current, because everybody wants to report the positive numbers, the growth in the economy, as well as the creation of jobs. That's very important.
Have you found yourself having to tweak how you go out and present Malaysia to the world? Has that happened?
The messaging have changed slightly, more so from an adaptive standpoint. The adaptive standpoint is looking at Greater Kuala Lumpur to invest. However, that is also an opportunity that when we hear or when somebody approaches us on investments that can be possibly outside of Kuala Lumpur, we would be happy to facilitate and pass it on to the relevant state agencies or the state corridors as well. And that has, I think, been about closing the loop with regards to those activities. From an industry-focused standpoint, there is not much change. However, what has been launched by the ministry that we report to, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, they have launched a key initiative or a key event, which is Industry Forward or Industry 4.0 in November 2018. So that has also been our mantra as we go forward. It's about the Internet of Things, it's about cybersecurity, it's about 5G and connectivity. And when we focus on multinationals and investments within this space, this is an investment that we can facilitate and bring in. However, the indirect effect can be to the small medium enterprises of Malaysia. So this is where we see the connection again to what's happening in Malaysia as a whole.
Needless to say, times have changed, leaders have changed, I think policies have changed, times are even more uncertain than ever. So with all that in the back of your mind, what is the expectations then for 2020?
We like people to challenge us. Companies as well as stakeholders, government, challenge us to do more. That's basically it. And we are happy to say that there were certain announcements in the budget 2020 that was announced by the Honourable Finance Minister on some of the new activities that we will be embarking upon. InvestKL have been chosen as the lead agency to lead the China Special Channel activity.
Right.
What that means is the current US-China trade tension. And many companies would have to reinvent, would have probably to relocate, would have probably to reassess, rethink as well.
Sure.
Their business model today, which means it can be Chinese companies, it can be companies, any other company from any other country as well, that needs to look at and needs to assess another location. So what InvestKL would focus on is to do that quick assessment when a prospect comes up, and looking at that activity, the industry, and so on, to quickly pass it on to the relevant state agencies. Our end target in 2020 is to attract 100 multinationals.
Yeah.
And this is again back to our mantra and how we have been doing things. We want to target even more, simply because we know we can do more. The funnel of investments from Americas, Europe, as well as China, Japan, Korea is very strong. And this is where also, because of the multinationals that we attract, we want to ensure that the spillover effect to the economy and relating to the shared prosperity vision 2030 that we want to position as well, to really encapsulate everything and ensure that these companies run, prosper, and use Greater Kuala Lumpur as their regional hub.